Hello everyone. In this video we look at the introduction to one of the very important class of chemical substances which is acids, bases and salts. So among the chemical substances that we will be trying to analyze throughout our course of study in chemistry, these three categories of substances, acids, bases and salts, they take a very important place because most of the reactions that we are going to study in chemistry, they would be involving either of these three classes of substances. So since these three categories of substances, they are highly reactive and they participate in a lot of chemical reactions, the study of them will be obviously important to us. So mainly when we look at the classes of chemical compounds, the ones that will be of very much importance in terms of the study of reactions and the properties will be these three types of substances, which we'll call them as acids, bases and salts. Now we'll see which compounds we'll call as acids, which compounds we'll call as bases and which compounds we'll call as salts. So broadly, if you look at these three types of substances, they have something in common, and that is these substances they can actually conduct current either in the molten state or in the aqueous solution. So if you melt them and keep them inside this electrolytic cell where we connect two electrodes, anode which is positive and cathode which is negative, and here we have the molten solution or the solution of the particular electrolyte in water. So aqueous solution means the solution of any substance with water. Then what we will see is that the anions of the particular solution will be moving towards the anode. Anions are negative charge, so they'll go to the positive electrode, and cations will go to the negative electrode because cations are positive charge, they will be going to the negative electrode. So this process is what we call as electrolysis, and here we can see that as the charges are moving, there is going to be current, and such substances we will call them as electrolytes. Acids, bases and salts, all of them are commonly also known as electrolytes. That is the common feature between these three types of substances. Now coming to the individual understanding of the acids, bases and salts, the original idea of acids actually came from the fact that they will be tasting sour. I mean, from the Latin name acid, it basically means that they taste sour, and based upon the taste of the substances, people in the olden days used to understand that the particular substance contains acids and the particular substance does not contain acid. So taste used to be one of the original basis on which they used to find out if there is an acid present or not. And the other important property of the acids is especially we will see that there will be a class of acids, we call them as mineral acids. The common acids like hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid, nitric acid. So we can even write down the formula of these acids. Hydrochloric acid is HCl, sulfuric acid is H2SO4. I mean, we are going to study about all of them later, but just to give you a clarity of what is the mineral acid. So mineral acids are basically the acids that are prepared from minerals. So hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, these are some of the common mineral acids. So these acids will be highly corrosive. Means so when they are falling on the metal surface, they will be damaging the metal surface, and that is the another property of the acids. Talking about the bases, they taste bitter, they have a bitter taste. Milk of magnesia, all these bases, they will be tasting bitter. And in terms of physical property, one of the very prominent physical property is the solutions of the bases will be soapy to touch. In fact, the soap solution in water, that itself is basic in nature. So we can understand what do we mean by soapy touch. So this is one of the prominent properties of the bases in terms of identifying it. And there is a group of bases that will be soluble in water, and these water soluble bases which mainly contain hydroxides, like sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, we will call them as alkalis. So alkalis are a subcategory of bases which will be water soluble. So we can say water soluble bases are called as alkalis: sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide KOH, magnesium hydroxide MgOH twice, calcium hydroxide. So all of them we can classify them as the alkalis. And talking about the salts, salts are generally formed by the neutralization reaction between the acids and bases. So that is how we will be preparing the salts. So most of the salts are formed by the reaction between the acids and bases, and they will be generally solid in state, and they are very good electrolyte. So in solid state, because the natural state is solid state, so in solid state they will not be able to conduct current. Usually metals they conduct current in the solid state, but the salts, they will not be able to conduct current through them when they are in the solid state, but they can conduct current when they are in the molten state, or when they are in solution with water, and that is the reason why we call them as electrolytes. So this is another important property of the salts. So this is the broad idea of what are acids, what are bases, and what are salts. Now in the subsequent videos we will try and learn more about specifically about acids, specifically about the bases, and specifically about the salts. Try and understand what are their properties, what are the classification within them, and the chemical reactions, etc.